Tonight, crawlers on fire, ESA's lost their creativity, astronauts perform a super short spacewalk, South Korea completes a space center, JAXA makes impact, and scientists design a stairway to heaven. Oh yeah, we've also got STS-127, I think it might be your Twitterversary, and a whole lot more coming up on this June 12th edition of Spacevidcast Live. Welcome to Spacevidcast. My name is Benjamin Higginbotham. With me is beautiful, lovely, wonderful, talented, and Twitterversarific Carrie Ann Higginbotham. We are the Spacevidcasters. Yesterday, or today, depending upon your time zone,
right,
was your Twitterversary.
Yes, and then the day before was Gissik's Twitterversary.
Oh my gosh.
And then the day after, which would be today or tomorrow, depending, again, on your time zone, is also Corkspin's Twitterversary.
It's like a Twitterversarific
I know,
thing.
and I didn't even know either one of them, but when I signed up.
That is amazingly awesome. As you saw in the intro, we have got just a ton of space news today, so I think we should get into it right off the bat. Here is some space news. Space news. Right here in good old Minnesota. That's where we're going to start off our space news.
I know!
You know, believe it or not, there's actually a little bit of space stuff that happens in Minnesota. And
yeah, I always say because, you know, we don't have anything else to do during the winter, so we might as well work with space stuff.
Do something. So absolutely, we've got the crawlers that transport the space shuttle from the vehicle assembly building over to the launch pad itself. The mobile launch pad, the mobile launch pad is on the vehicle. They are getting new fire suppression system.
Right, because that's kind of a big deal. If you're moving right along, minding your own business.
Boom! Fire! 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 Fire!
Right, like that. You're gonna want to get rid of that as soon as possible.
I just fire! 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 So it's. Thank you, Kath. That's awesome. The name of the company is StatX, and we've actually got this wonderfully boring video for you.
Very boring. Very boring.
This is fantastic because this is pretty much like a nothing like it will be whatsoever. And this happens in real life. So let's roll that video. Check this out. So here we've got a normal old trash bin that just randomly, spontaneously caught on fire. Now I know that this is a very common occurrence. I'll be walking by trash cans and all of a sudden, oh my gosh!
I never know what to do.
The whole thing's on fire. I mean, what do you do? I mean, what do you do when?
So you take this really cool thing.
You plop it in there.
It looks like a grenade.
Now watch this. Watch this. This is so cool. It's almost like I eat the fire. I have smothered you.
Yeah,
ah.
It's a very, very cool thing. And the best part is that it's very eco-friendly because there's nothing to degrade anything, so it's perfectly safe for like all of your computer parts and all of that stuff. It's not wet at all, so you know you can use it on just about anything really. And there's no there's chemicals with it, but the chemicals actually attack like the free radicals of the fire or something along those lines. It's like it chemically neutralizes it.
It's cool.
It's very cool, and it's not very harmful to you breathing it. I mean, you don't want to be like in the middle of it and go, you know, breathe all of it in.
How's that go again? Okay.
But within a few moments or so, just a couple of fans can get all of the fallout, I guess, away, and then it's perfectly safe, and there's like minimal damage, and it's a really, really incredible thing.
Now, the reason NASA wants to put this on their crawlers is because apparently it's one of the largest moving structures on the face of the planet, and I think actually they have two of them, so a couple of the largest moving structures on the face of the planet. And as such, there are a lot of things that can burn and do bad things, and there's a lot of complex stuff.
Well, it's really, really heavy, so I'm sure those things aren't just like beady-boo, beady-beady-boo.
Right, so if something catches on fire, you get an oil fire or gas fire or something in there, they need fire, 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 fire. You get, yeah, that will happen throughout the rest of this news story, just so you know.
So sorry.
You're gonna get, what can I say?
So sorry.
You know, this allows them to get into really small places and make sure that the whole thing is neutralized and is really good and stuff like that. Do we have to move on? I think we'll move on. Let's give ESA a hard time, shall we?
I think we should.
So there seems to be this trend, and I'm pretty sure NASA started the trend. Someone in the chat room can certainly correct me if I'm wrong.
Stephen Colbert started this
No,
trend.
I'm pretty sure that this happened before Colbert. There seems to be a trend of we're engineers, we're not creative enough to name our own missions, so why don't you go ahead and name it, then we'll ignore you and call it whatever we wanted to call it in the first place. So that's what NASA started doing. Now ESA's done the same thing. So with STS-128, they're sending up one of their astronauts, and they want you to name the mission.
Yep.
Yep, there's the 128 crew.
Yep.
And you're supposed to name the mission for them because apparently their marketing team doesn't get paid enough.
Right. Well, and my favorite part is that 128's going up in a number of months here.
Isn't it like August?
Something like that,
Yep.
yeah. I mean, we're kind of getting down to the wire. You know what I'm saying?
3, 2, we got a name!
Right. And you know, and I'll put the links in the show notes and stuff like that. You do have to be in one of the countries that ESA inhabits, I guess, to a certain extent. Works with. You can't be from the USA, you can't be from Australia, you can't be from Asia, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to be within ESA's domain.
Yep.
But you, yeah, but we have friends. So, you know, and you put in your name, and hopefully they won't pull a NASA on this and say, no, really, put in all of the names, and we're going to look at all the names, and they're going to be great names, and they just name it whatever the hell they want to anyway.
For those who don't know, actually, only about 60% of the viewers are from the US. The other 40% of our viewers are from the European countries, or some, well, I suppose it could be Mexico and other. But, you know, a good chunk of you guys are from the European countries, a lot of which ESA services. As such, I would like to cast my vote through you. You can be my proxy. I'm voting for Colbert. Yeah. I think they should call the mission Colbert. That's what I'm saying.
You know, David brings up a good point. What if you're English but you live in the States? I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. How
do they even? How do they qualify that? What if
they call you? They call you if the accent is correct. I don't know. If you call it ESA and not the ESA, I think right there you're qualified.
You're qualified?
Yeah. So I'm not entirely sure. And again, I'll put the links in the post.
Exactly. I mean, what's preventing me from just bouncing my signal on and off of some European something?
I don't know. I think because they don't think you care. Quite frankly.
All right. Yeah.
I think
that is a true statement.
It'll be like 30 of us here in the U.S. who vote,
Colbert,
two guys over in actual Europe voting, and they won't matter. It won't matter. But yeah, they were like, oh no, really, we had such a large turnout last time, and it was so popular. We decided to bring it back, and I was like, yeah, or you couldn't think of anything.
All right. My suggestion to ESA and NASA and all the other space agencies. Stop asking us to name your things. It's getting a little bit old. It's been done. We're past to that now. We're past that. They want to call it Ben. Gisick wants to call it Ben. I like that too.
STSBEN.
Why don't you want the mission should be called Spacevidcast? You like that? Moving right along.
SVC.
Astronauts on the International Space Station have performed the quickest
Spacewalk?
EVA, the fastest EVA ever.
Yeah, at least
ever-ish, I think. No, I think it's ever.
It might be ever. It might be ever.
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 They performed a 12-minute spacewalk.
12 minutes.
Which means they had to go through the hours and hours and hours of prepping for the spacewalk, which is, you got to put yourself into the low-pressure chamber and make sure you don't get the bends and stuff like that, and, get the suit on. And then what do? They open the door, look outside, and go, yep.
Still there.
There it is.
The best part is that it wasn't just one guy, it was two. And they all, I know.
Why did you need two guys for this?
No, I know, wait, it gets even better than that.
Well, with one guy, it would have taken 24.
I know, hold on. They were in an area that was only 5 feet wide. Or like, what is that?
That's not 5 feet, that's like 2 feet.
A meter, 1.5 meters, but you don't understand what I'm saying. So two guys, and all of this stuff have to be like, do you see it? Can you reach it? I can't reach it. Bink. Yeah, but luckily, I mean, they right. How many EVAs does it take to screw in a light bulb? But they did get it done. They got everything done that they needed to do.
Just make sure the tire was inflated?
No, it was replacing a cover. I mean, I can find it if you really want. It doesn't really matter, I guess.
The ISS got a little ding. They had to remove the ding from the door. So they opened their door into the ISS. They're all pissed off about it. $130 billion structure. They don't want any dents on the ISS.
It was the Zvezda service module.
Oh no!
They had to replace the cover on it. And it doesn't really matter. Does it really matter what it was?
We just thought it was funny. 12-minute spacewalk. If you look in the intro.
But you know what? If you look at it this way, there's so many people on the ISS now. They got to give everyone something to do.
That's right. If you missed it, because I don't think we really covered it that well, which is kind of a big deal. They moved from 3 people to 6 people on the International Space Station.
Huge.
Which is
a big.
I would have to say it's approximately double what it was before. Around twice.
And let's be very, very clear about this, because there have been times where there have been 6 people, 8 people on the ISS all at the same time. But we're talking, like more permanent people who are going to be there for 6 months at a time. There's going to be 6 people there for 6 months at a time or more, which is a bigger deal than a couple of days.
Which allows us to perform 12-minute spacewalks as Simiaviator said, Micromedia scratched the paint. Who wants to fix it? How do you say that screen name? Simiaviator. Yeah, moving on.
Sorry, Sim. Simiaviator.
Simiaviator?
Yeah, Simiaviator.
Yeah, this is live. This is why we're not on television. This is internet television.
No joke, because they kick us off. It's so fast.
You're like, what? You guys do what? South Korea has completed its first space center.
Yes, and this is the problem. It's the Narrow.
N-A-R-O-W, right?
No W.
N-A-R-O.
N-A-R-O. Narrow? I don't know. We're not Asian. Okay, I'm sorry. But it's the Narrow. I'm calling it Narrow. Because
anyone know how to pronounce it? If you know how to pronounce it in the chat room,
where's Larry when we need him?
Spell that out for us so we can figure that out.
But this is kind of interesting because we were all freaking out about North Korea sending out like non-missiles, just kind of saying, oh no, really, we're just sending, they're like little telegrams, don't even worry about it. But South Korea,
missilegram!
Right, South Korea makes a space center, we're like, woohoo! So,
well, yeah, but
what
it's
does
a very
that say
different,
about us?
It's a very, very different political atmosphere over there.
I guess.
So,
at least they're making it known.
We're scared of one a lot more than the other. So.
Not Nero.
Man. Well, no, I don't know. I think it's kind of, what is this spaceport for there? Because Russia helped them, so this isn't like a Spaceport America type thing where they're going to be like, oh, Virgin American can,
right,
or
well,
Virgin Galactic can
because
land
they didn't
here.
know exactly what they were doing, and Russia obviously has a better idea of what's going on, and so they had joined up, and those damn Romulans, screw you guys, all right? And Calgary, yes, anytime you want to make me a missilegram sticker, feel free, send that over, we'll put that on our website. But it's the 13th country in the world to own a space center, which I found interesting because I didn't realize there were that many. bad me. It was me, Russia, China, India, 13.
Yeah.
That was kind of impressive to me.
That's the upcoming Space 2.0 race, as it were.
Yeah.
Everyone's trying to get into space. It's frankly, in my humble but very accurate opinion, is the new economy, and he who commands space is going to command, the economy, which I guess command the world at that point.
Economy, space, okay.
I'm just babbling at this point.
Yes, you are. But that's exciting for them. So that's kind of interesting and something to look. I cannot name all 13, but that's something to look out for.
Yeah, thanks for putting us on the spot, Carbon. Appreciate that.
Right, and
yeah,
soon
thanks.
Mexico will as well. Thank you, BZ. Absolutely.
Soon is a relative. Soon, they haven't even technically been approved yet. Okay. Look at last week's
soon
episode.
Mexico will as well.
So speaking of, wow, like all of our news items, hardly any of them have to do with NASA or anything in the U.S. You notice that?
Yeah.
Well, a couple of them did, but so next is JAXA, which is the Japan Space Agency.
Yes. All right, now I have to apologize because I think I told you this was called Cayuga, and it's not. It's Kagaya.
Oh, well, yeah, I would have seen how you did that.
Oh, yeah, because apparently I'm a little dyslexic.
Yeah, they've made impact. Ooh, guys, we'll get to STS-127, just wait. They made impact with the moon. And what's neat about this is when China did this, because China did this a while ago, China's very, very secretive. And so they don't want you to know what they're doing. And so they took their satellite, went bam into the moon, and everyone was like, oh, we wanted to look at that, see what we could learn. And China's like, ha 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 ha. But
Meanwhile, Japan is like, look at all the crap we've done. Hey, this might even not even go good. We think we have pictures, it's not even sure. So it's really nice that they're so open about it. It's very space media 2.0.
So we were able to swing all of our telescopes and all of our fun little monitoring things over there and actually watch the impact that occurred not that long ago. And cool, awesome stuff. And did we have a, no, we didn't have a picture of that earlier. But that was the, was that the craft that actually took that picture?
Yes.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, so
that was, so if
highly
you guys,
detailed, very interesting. If you guys don't have it or haven't seen the pictures from, I keep calling it Selene because that's what it had been called before, Kagaya, the pictures are so detailed.
It's amazing. This is the high definition coverage of the moon, so you can actually see the Earthrise with the moon in the high def stuff. And I believe JAXA has a disc of this. I'm not entirely sure where to find it. I try searching Google or Amazon. I am nearly positive that JAXA has a Blu-ray disc of the moon and Earthrise. Yeah, I know.
High definition Earthrise. It's
seriously,
so
guys,
beautiful.
check that out. I have not seen this. But I had read this or heard this at one of those big, huge conferences where people are much smarter than I am.
Right, which is why we go.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good.
So yeah, made impact, crashed it into the moon, and then we learned information from the impact. You know, see what it kicks up. See.
Well, everyone says crash in the moon. It's, I mean, it did sort of crash land to a certain extent, but it didn't like blow up on impact or anything like that.
Did you want to make fun of that writer really quick?
All right, so. We have been written up in the Examiner, the Space News Examiner, and the Examiner in general is kind of like this freelance kind of website where all these different freelance writers can write a bunch of stuff, but everyone kind of has their little section that they write about. And so Patty, we know Patty, and she usually does the space stuff, but there was somebody else who did something talking about Kagaya's lunar impact, and I'm not really sure what she normally specializes in, and clearly it's not space at all, like at all, because...
How do you really feel?
Because her article was really, not really an article. It was probably about 12 sentences or so, I would say, and she was like this kind of ethereal, like... You know, the moon impacts everyone here down on Earth and the tides, and we all feel its pull. And then Japan sent this probe up, and it crashed into the moon. And did they talk to her? Did they ask her how she felt? Did they ask her if it was okay for them to? And I was like, what? Like I thought I was on crack reading it. But the best part is that in the all the comments, people are like, "Oh my God, I didn't even ask my seat if I could sit in it today.
Chairs, may we sit in you?
I am such an ass." So it's kind of funny just for the comments because people.
You are vulgar tonight.
I am.
We're gonna have to rate this show like PG-13.
I know. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But but it's very funny, and I'll probably put that in the show notes because it was just entertaining to say the least. But yeah, I don't think we need to ask the moon if it's okay to send something to her. Just so you know.
Scientists have designed the next best thing to a space elevator, a space escalator.
Essentially. It's somewhere between...
We're in a mood tonight, aren't we? What is with us?
I don't know. It's somewhere between an escalator...
You know what it is? There's no guest this week, so we can do whatever we want.
It is.
It's a little bit of old... This is a little old school Spacevidcast right here, right now. So suck it up. You're not getting it back for months.
No. Yes, the said shots. So it's somewhere between an escalator and a ladder.
Okay.
Okay, because it's like this tower, and it's inflatable, but it's like with really dense or high pressure gas or something like that. And so it kind of makes this ladder-ish kind of thing, and then you can climb up it, which I think is hysterical because you wouldn't really want to climb an escalator. Yes, there you go. Thank you, BZ. BZ did it. It wasn't me. Anyhow. But it was kind of interesting, and there's a whole thing, a new scientist, and it's Kevlar polyethylene composite tubes, and they're rigid, and they're inflated with like helium and stuff like that, and blah blah blah. All that stuff is interesting, I'm sure. But I just thought it was, an interesting idea that instead of trying to lift this slow-moving elevator, that really all we would have to do then is lift our own weight for the most part.
Yeah, but I mean, you're not going to actually try to climb that thing.
I'm not gonna.
No, I mean, no one's going to be able to climb that. That's just as far-fetched as the space elevator. Although the space elevator actually could theoretically be doable with carbon nanotubes.
But if one of the balloons pops, you don't have to worry about it. And we'd have to have like gyroscopes and stuffy stuff. And
all right. Well, okay. That's one of those really, really out there things again. It's just way, way out there. So anyhow, all right. When we come back, we'll be talking about STS-127 and where you can get all the really cool footage and coverage and everything across the internets for your space shuttle launch needs. Because you know you want to. But before we go into break, we're bringing back an old friend of ours called Twitter Trivia. I know, and this week we've got an awesome prize, which we'll show you when we get back from the break. Twitter Trivia question: what was the name given by NASA to the first rock on Mars, which the Sojourner rover explored in 1997? I suck at names. So what you need to do, tweet your answer to @Spacevidcast. So make sure to add the @ Spacevidcast in your Twitter for a chance to win. The winner, whoever has the correct answer, will be chosen at random. It's not the first person to answer.
Nope.
It's one of the people that answered correctly. Do that during our break, and you've got a chance to win a very, very cool prize. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, and welcome to the Crow River Coffee Company in Watertown, Minnesota. Situated on the bank of the beautiful Crow River, we offer espresso drinks, delicious food, live music, bulk beans, and artisan items. You can see us at crowrivercoffee.com. Thanks.
When we went to break, we asked you what was the name given by NASA for the first that rover that explored in 1997. So some rock on Mars. The answer, we've got a winner, by the way.
Yes, we do.
The answer is Barnacle Bill, named after the cartoon.
Yes,
Barnacle
that was the first one. And then there was a couple that were like Yogi and I don't know. They named a whole bunch. Yes, Barnacle Bill the Sailor. Thank you, Jeff. Or Jeff.
Jeff.
Yeah, they named a bunch of them after the cartoon, but the very first one, for whatever reason, was named Barnacle Bill.
And our winner this week, for first Twitter trivia back in a long time, is Hunsters 1701.
Woohoo! Yay!
Hunster. So, Benjamin, good name, by the way. Congratulations for winning. We've got a really cool prize for you. Check this out. We have got an autographed copy of Voices from the Moon. No, more like here.
What?
There we go. There. So it's in between us.
Fine. Voices from the Moon. It's by Andrew Chankin, who was at ISDC. So we picked up one of the books, and we also had it signified.
Signified. Are you going to be able to see that? There you go.
Yeah, it's hard to see, but
Right there.
he did sign it for us and date it. So it's not personalized to you. I apologize, but it is signed. It's very, very cool. For those of you guys who don't know who Andrew Chankin is, one of the other books that he wrote was the basis for the HBO series From the Earth to the Moon, which was produced by Tom Hanks and is a really incredible series. I think Carbon's got a copy of it, but I'm not really sure. I know we've got a copy of it. It's one of our favorites, and but oh well. Any case, it's a lot of fun and it's very interesting, and it's not actually like a story. If Calgar's still in the room, I know she can talk to this, but it's more like all of these quotes from all of the guys who went to the moon, and not just walked on the moon, because there was only 12 of those guys, but who went around the moon. And he talked to like 23 out of 24 of them, or however many it was. And so they give you a really interesting perspective on what was going on at the time. And some of the quotes in there are just so funny. They're like, we weren't really thinking about we were going to the moon because it was too big of an idea. It was too massive. We were just thinking, this is what we have to do, this is what's going on. And it wasn't until we got back that we realized we went to the moon, that kind of stuff. So it's very interesting, and Ben and I have been fighting over our particular copy since we got back from ISDC. So yes, some very open stuff. It's very interesting. And the photos are all from the astronauts themselves. So it's probably some pictures that you haven't seen before. Very interesting.
Caffeinated? The chat's frozen. Thank you. He'll fix that. Sorry, guys. So yeah, we have been fighting over it. It's beautiful. I don't know if you guys could,
gorgeous.
Just the pictures in here.
The pictures are amazing.
I was all mad because I couldn't get it on my e-reader, and then I realized that there is just no way that you can get.
Yeah, no. Some of the pictures are even from like inside the capsule, as
Dude,
a couple of the guys are on the moon, but the other guy is stuck in
the. It's really hard to do with the glare.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
You'll just have to see it. For those of you, this is our only copy that we're able to give away, so if you're waiting out for another Twitter trivia, this is it. So you can go to Amazon.com and pick up your copy of Voices from the Moon.
It just came out.
It just came out. We'll add this into the show notes. I believe it's $30 US.
$30 right there.
Not that bad plus shipping. It's a fantastic little coffee book type thing.
It's lovely.
So, and
lovely.
advertisement.
Yeah.
STS 127, you guys heard the blaringly loud. Max Q, seriously, what is it with you guys and pegging your audio as high up as you can go? My gosh, man. All right, but we've got STS 127 launching this Saturday, coming up in just a couple of days. And exciting stuff. Looks like it's so far, no holds. The countdown has started.
Yep.
We're getting ready to go.
Yep.
This is we're going back to the International Space Station to finish up the Kibo module.
Yes.
Yay, go Kibo.
And more 12-minute spacewalks.
But there are tons and tons and tons of places that you can get your coverage online, and there's some really cool things going on. So we're going to pimp ourselves out first because, it's my show.
Exactly. We can do that.
So I'm going to. If you want to, you can get high-definition coverage live on the interwebs right here at right here at spacevidcast.com, right there.
There we go.
Yep. Go to spacevidcast.com, and we'll actually be streaming 720p, true HD of the space shuttle. And for anyone who was in watching STS 125 just previously and who saw the high definition coverage, they will say in the chat room how amazingly awesome it is to watch in high definition.
Beautiful.
It looks gorgeous.
Beautiful.
Yep. So certainly check that out. Of course, we'll have the live chat room and the whole community aspect of it going on, because you don't want to just sit there and watch high definition coverage. You get excited about this stuff, right? You want to be part of the community. Everyone's cheering it on. It just looks great. So we're doing our coverage, but in addition to that, there are a bunch of other people that are providing coverage as well. So you can go to Spaceflight Now, and they'll have real-time coverage. They use a different provider. They'll be using Mogulus for that, I believe.
I believe so.
And they've got Miles O'Brien. They've got David Waters.
And they've got an ex-astronaut, and I can never remember his name.
And they'll be giving you, they're actually, the advantage of Spaceflight Now is they're on site. They are quite literally at the Cape, ready to go, and they're going to be, they'll be right there, right in front of the space shuttle from the media area, which is, I think, like 3.5 miles away or something like that.
Something like that, but it's some of the closest you can get.
And for those who don't know, this is kind of like an ex-group of professional broadcasters from like CNN and big, huge names that covered this stuff for years and years and years. So they are incredibly knowledgeable about anything and everything you ever wanted to know. And much like Spacevidcast, they have the real-time chat room and they answer their Twitter questions. And so it's really cool. It's a social experience with them as well. So you can kind of, and the neat thing is you don't have to choose just one. You can watch
Just
a bunch of
bounce
them
around.
and bounce around between them and whatever makes sense for you. You know, just, you know, it's kind of cool. It's kind of fun. Another neat one that we just found about earlier tonight, apparently NASA is going to be doing the same thing. Hopefully someone in the chat room can give us a little bit of information.
Hallelujah on that.
No kidding. That's
Can't
awesomely
even tell
exciting.
you.
Now-
They've decided to do pre-launch web coverage, live blogs, podcasts, pictures, and videos, all highlights of NASA's web coverage of Space Shuttle Endeavour's STS-127.
That's going to be awesome.
Is very, very cool.
Yep. Well, it won't. Well, actually, it might. So we don't
It
know.
might suck, but the idea is that they're making the effort at all, which I think is incredible.
Absolutely.
Because, you know, no offense to NASA, but they do have a tendency to kind of hold back a little bit. They are sort of that big sort of cement building corporation, and they're very resistant to change. So for them to jump on this bandwagon, I have to salute them for that. I really do.
Now the Spacevidcasters are going, you know, it's going to suck. Their other stuff sucked. This is going to suck. We haven't seen it. Keep an open mind, and I actually invite everyone. I think we should all go over there and take a peek at it, see what they're doing. And the advantage of having an actual NASA webcast is that you're going to be able to kind of get in behind, hopefully, be able to get in behind some doors that no one else simply has access to. You just simply have to be NASA to get that level of access.
Exactly.
And there's just, I don't care if you're another media broadcaster who's been in the industry for years, no one has more access than NASA themselves. What I'd love to see NASA do, and if hopefully someone from NASA is watching, you know what would be really cool? If they got someone in mission control, like if they got cameras and actual people answering questions at consoles in mission control and at launch control. So you've actually got the people who are hitting the buttons, a roving camera on the floor. So you want to be like, hey, what is, you know, so long as they're obviously not working on like safety assurance, I'm just starting to go that, you know, they can't be doing something that's active at that exact moment in time. But, you know, there's got to be a good chunk of dead time that, you know, a 5 minute chunk where you'd be like, you know what, some people had some questions of you.
Right.
That would be awesome. Now, I don't expect them to do that, but, you know, still, let's check it out. I'm excited to see them starting to do that social aspect because, frankly, all ships rise with the tide.
Yeah.
And if they can get more people excited about this stuff and they can show that, you know, we're trying to make this a community thing, whether we, the space elite? No, we're not really. I wouldn't consider us elite at all.
No.
Whether we are already into space. We are not their target. They
We're already
shouldn't be their
interested.
target market. They should be going after the people, the 48 to 50% of Americans who think that the moon is interesting but really haven't done anything with it. You guys have heard
Right.
me get on my soapbox on this before.
Right.
If they're able to go after them, and if they're able to get those people interested, maybe it doesn't interest us or the normal Spacevidcast community, but if it interests those people, your neighbor or someone like that, and they go, you know what, I was able to talk directly to NASA. That just is cool.
That's very cool.
So that's exciting as well. Those are the live video. Oh, then you've also got your normal video outlets. HDNet normally does something. I usually recommend if you're going to watch a space shuttle launch and you're not going to be in person, first be in person.
Be in person.
Right. Now, there's no better seat than the cameras. I mean, when you're in person, you're miles away. It's big.
Yeah.
Right? So you can barely see it, but it's
BZ made a
an
good
emotional experience.
Because if you're not going to be there, Jason very well might be. Jason from the GLXP team, Omega Envoy,
Yep.
is interning with NASA for
Yep.
a while. So we might be able to get in touch with him. Thank you for reminding me,
Yeah,
BZ,
we'll
about
bring
that.
in everyone we can directly on site via Skype. Everything we did for 125.
First
we'll try
time
to do
listener
again.
says that from the Causeway is awesome. Yeah, I bet. If you want to bring me down, I'm all over it.
It is. It's an experience. You have to go there yourself. We're running out of missions. At this time, we're still slated to kill the space shuttle program in 2010. That's right around the corner. You know, the end of 2010, but you know.
NASA man's got STS-128 covered. Awesome.
Sweet. But figure out how to make it there in person at least once in your life if you haven't done it already. And you
Yeah.
got to at least see one of the remaining shuttles. But barring that, if you can't do it in person, you got to do it in high def. These little itty bitty windows, these standard def windows, just don't cut it.
Not
You
the
got to do
same.
it in high def.
Just not the same.
So HDNet, CNN HD, Fox HD, one of them usually covers it, or all of them. So if you in what we will sometimes do is have like the HD TV on the cable station on over there.
Yep.
We've got our high def satellite feed on over here. Then you'll usually have like Spaceflight Now open, and then
Yeah,
maybe one
just to
other
kind
one.
of compare,
Yeah,
contrast,
and then so
see
we've got
what's
all
going
of these
on.
things going on at the same time. It may be a little bit of information overload, but if you're a space junkie, it's awesome. You know, you don't have to limit yourself just to one provider.
Right.
Then of course you've got Twitter. You can always follow the STS at STS127. I was like 128. No.
129. No, 125.
Follow
no.
at STS 127. You can always follow at NASA PAO for Public Affairs Officer. So at NASA POW.
There's a ton of people. All you have to do, yes, Astro_127. It's just like Mike Massimo went up in the one. We've got Massimo. You know what I'm trying to say. Anyhow, yeah, NASA PAO. There's a ton of people on. Yeah, I know, Carbon. Sorry. There's a ton of people on Twitter for NASA that you can follow. But then also, really quickly, Discovery Space Channel or Science Channel.
Science
I'm sorry.
Channel. Yep, they've got the
They
Brink
usually do.
guy, Josh Zepps.
Yep, they usually do some stuff as
Zepps.
well. So that's really, really interesting.
Here's what's brinking this week. They changed it. They don't do that anymore.
No.
So that's a few of the places where you can get STS 127 coverage. Now, we would love to. I realize we just pimped out a whole bunch of different people.
Absolute Space Girl, yes. There's a ton of people that are really, really
SS
good for that
Endeavor.
kind of thing.
There are a bunch of places, and you can also do Twitter search is another good place.
Yep.
Just search for just search for STS 127 or search for it's Endeavor that's going up. It's spelt the French way, so note the spelling.
O-U-R.
Yeah, actually, it's at the top of the. It's gone now, but that's all right. There you go. Carbon X just spelled it again for us. So make sure you get the spelling of that correctly, but search for that on Twitter at search.twitter.com.
Yep.
And you can follow all the relevant people who are looking at the launch. And of course, there's going to be a Facebook frenzy as well. So checking out the status there. Those are just a few different ways that you can get access to the stuff. And then of course, the official channel, the absolute official way that's not going to have any additional voiceovers. So if you get sick of hearing us and we're just not your style, which is totally fine, and you want to watch it in a teeny tiny window, you can go to nasa.gov/NTV for NASA TV. And they will have live streaming coverage in Windows Media Player. Yep. And you can actually watch it with just the NASA PAO and just the mission control audio. No additional voiceover whatsoever. And that's another way you can get it. And of course, they'll have just continuous updates at nasa.gov/shuttle. And you can just get anything and everything you've ever wanted.
The nice thing is, this is one of the first launches in a long time that's been on the weekend. A lot of times people are, they're in the middle of work or they're in of school or whatever it is. But this time it's on a Saturday.
Absolutely.
You have like little to no reason to not watch it.
Yeah, you got a little reason. What time on Saturday?
Really early in the morning.
Really early in the morning.
7:17 EDT.
Yeah, that's 6:17 Central Time. 4:17 in the morning if you're on the West Coast.
But and we kind of missed it. We missed it for this particular. I don't know if we have the thing, but the coffee of the month this month is the Blast Off blend.
That's true.
Right here from Crow River Coffee.
So it's 4 o'clock in the morning. You buy yourself some Blast Off blend. Get it
there
right now.
you go.
Caffeinated. If they order tomorrow and they pay for shipping, can they get it by Saturday? Is there any chance? Or are they out of luck?
Well, I'd have to put it on the website first.
Apparently, it's not even on the website. So
You get yourself some coffee, you drink it, you realize how bad your coffee is, but you're awake and you're happy for that. And then you go to the website and then you buy yourself some Blast Off blend.
We've had some. Blast Off blend is awesome. We had it specially made just for us. It's our own Spacevidcast blend. And you can get that at crowrivercoffee.com. And you're going to need it. So even if you can't get it in time for STS 127, you know that 128, 129, or some other rocket launch is going to happen at the wee hours of the morning because they launch whenever it is best for insertion into orbit, not when it's best for your human body.
Not
right?
so much.
So certainly grab the coffee, go to crowrivercoffee.com, and Caffeinated will get that on the website.
Yes.
As I scold you. Cow. Jeez.
Oh my goodness. But then some of the money does come back into Spacevidcast as well. So that's you're helping us, you're helping CAF, help us, you're helping yourself, help us, help you,
Go
help them.
back to the graphic. Check it out.
The graphic is really cool.
Yeah, check it out. And the bag comes with this nifty little Crow River. See, look at that.
how cute that
little
is.
Blast Off. The Crow has a astronaut helmet on him.
I
Check that
know,
out. Isn't
because
that awesome?
the rest of his body doesn't need it, just the helmet.
All right, I think
Just
it's
the
time to
head part.
wrap this particular show up. Hopefully you guys, I realized we were a little ethereal ourselves on this show, weren't we? A little more
if
than
I talk
normal.
to the moon tonight and she says that she's upset because JAXA decided to send something, and then I'm going to have to call the ISS and make sure that she's okay with Endeavor coming up to her. Yeah.
So, the Spacevidcasters noticed our little Easter egg, and I'll point it out for everyone, which makes it not an Easter egg, but it was fun for the first. If you missed it, go back. The Twitter logo that we have.
Our little
Twitter bird has a astronaut helmet on it as well.
so
and every
cute.
time we use it in the graphic, there's always a little astronaut helmet on our Twitter bird. Yep, there you go. So
There
you can
he
see, check out the
is.
Twitter bird, little astronaut helmet around his head.
Cute.
Every time we bring him up, we've got the helmet. I love that. I thought that
know.
was great. Thank you guys so much for watching. We're going to have live high-definition coverage of STS-127 this Saturday, starting at whatever time it starts at. We already
2
covered
o'clock
that.
in the morning.
Oh, God, it's going to be painful. So we'll get that going. It's going to be high def. It's going to be awesome. Our normal show on Friday at 2 o'clock a.m. Coordinated Universal Time, still on. We've reversed our policy. We will be doing our normal broadcasts even during the shuttle launches. We might fudge the time a little bit, but assuming we don't fudge the time, you can watch Spacevidcast every Friday at 2 a.m. Coordinated Universal Time. For those in the United States, because I know you can't do time zone conversion, that's, what is that, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time, 9 o'clock Central Time, or 10 o'clock Eastern Time. What, they can't.
I know.
They can't.
I
don't know
know.
why
You're
they can't.
just
but
mean.
It confuses them.
Oh,
I'd like to thank
well.
everyone so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at STS-127. It's going to be awesome. We'll see you soon.